Lydia had always loved bears. From childhood, her fascination had blossomed into something deeper, almost reverent. She collected bear figurines, read every book she could find on them, and spent hours hiking through forests, hoping to catch a glimpse of one in the wild. Bears were her obsession, her solace. One brisk autumn afternoon, while wandering through the dense woods, Lydia's heart stopped when she spotted something in the distance. It was massive, far larger than any bear she'd ever seen. A giant grizzly, standing on its hind legs, its fur shining in the golden sunlight. But what made her breath catch in her throat wasn't just its size, it was the way it turned its head and looked directly at her, its dark eyes seemingly filled with intelligence. Then, to her shock, it spoke. "I know what you are," the grizzly said, its voice low and rumbling like thunder. "You love bears. You watch us, admire us. But let me warn you, if you try to touch me, I will rip you apart and eat you alive." Lydia froze, half in terror and half in awe. Her love for bears had never prepared her for this, a talking grizzly. It was surreal. Yet the danger in his words was unmistakable. She nodded slowly, her curiosity warring with a primal fear that tugged at her gut. I can do that," she said, voice shaky but resolute. "I just want to talk to you, to understand you." The bear's gaze softened slightly. "Good. Stay where you are. Talk. Watch. But do not come close." And so it began. On that first day, Lydia kept her distance, standing far enough away that the bear seemed like a dream, an ethereal creature in the dappled forest light. They talked, cautiously at first. She asked him questions about his life in the wild, what it was like to be a bear, and he answered with surprising depth and wit. They even shared a few laughs, the bear's deep chuckle shaking the ground beneath her feet. The next day, Lydia returned, inching just a little closer. The bear acknowledged her presence with a flick of his ear but said nothing of her new proximity. They spoke again, this time more freely. She even tossed him some food, which he caught effortlessly with a swipe of his massive paw. Each day after that, she would come, bringing offerings of berries or fish, and each time, she would inch just a bit closer, their bond growing as they shared more conversations, more laughter. Days turned into weeks, and Lydia found herself standing just a few feet from the bear. She had grown bold in her fascination, her awe blinding her to the very real danger that had lurked in his first words. She felt like they had built something special, a connection between species that went beyond words. One evening, as the sun dipped low and cast a warm glow over the clearing, Lydia made a decision. She felt so close to him, so connected. The bear had never harmed her despite all her creeping closeness. She thought, perhaps, the initial warning was just that, a way to test her. Slowly, heart pounding in her chest, she reached out her hand. The bear's eyes darkened instantly. There was no hesitation, no mercy. With a speed that defied his size, he lunged forward. His claws tore into her face, the searing pain blinding her in an instant as her skin was shredded from bone. She didn't even have time to scream before he was on her, his teeth sinking deep into her flesh, the crack of her bones snapping echoing in the clearing. As the world faded around her, the last thing Lydia heard was the bear's deep, rumbling voice. "I told you." And then there was nothing but the wet sound of tearing flesh and the final, cold silence of the forest. The end.